The difference that getting a lot of sleep makes is quite astonishing when you compare it to when you're not on enough sleep for the night. Yesterday, the last 2 days, I was on about 6 or 7 hours of sleep, and it was not good at all. But today I've kind of recovered finally, and I got about 7.7 hours of sleep, so it wasn't much, but I also got the same last night, so I've kind of recovered back from the 6.4 hours I got the night before. I've been tracking my sleep down to the last decimal point because it's just really that important. The difference between 7.1 hours of sleep and 7.99 hours of sleep is pretty massive because in one stage you're sleep deprived and the other you're kind of okay. So I noticed that when I started today, I was not as bad off when I started calling people. It wasn't quite as painful as it would have been yesterday or the day before that because on those 2 days, my mind didn't have the fortitude built up over the night of sleep to actually release a vid. Sorry, my mind is just going kind of haywire because my day to day has been rough, even though I do say it hasn't been as bad as the last few days in terms of calling alone. But it wasn't as painful because I had gotten enough sleep, and also I had worked my ass off the last few weeks, putting myself through great amounts of pain. Like this day last week, I was in complete agony just the whole day. I was torturing myself, just keep continuing to call people over and over. But because of that, I've sort of accustomed myself now that I'm not going to feel much more pain anymore with calling alone. So there's that. I knew that it wasn't going to be too bad today. Now it still was kind of painful, but it wasn't that bad. It was fully bearable. The only thing was that today I probably got the most. It's only two or three brutal responses that you need to kind of set your brain on fire, sort of kind of. If this were most other people, I'd say 95% of people would actually start getting upset with what happened in my particular scenario today because I called someone and oh yes, so first one wasn't too bad. The first so-called brutal call, someone just called me and then they said, "Hello, this is X company," and I knew it was a gatekeeper because no offense, but it's usually not the women who are the owners in HVAC companies. It's usually men, so I kind of knew it was just the old trained secretary, the really well trained secretary who knows exactly how to deal with salespeople and knows exactly how to deal with customer relations and all of that queries, knows how exactly to raise their voices to the right pitch, knows exactly how to make you get as much information as possible as quickly as possible and able to shut you down as quickly as possible. It's just those freaking people, they just annoy the heck out of me because it's just like, wow, you're so you're so freaking good at dealing with me that I'm never going to get in touch with the person in charge because I've just no logical reason to now because you're going to somehow pass on a message to them and pretty much 100% of the time they don't get back to you because they're just like, who the frick is that random bloke who sent me a message? I'm not going to respond to them. My time is more valuable than that. And it's just those bloody gatekeepers, man. I know there's probably a procedure where you could deal with them, but to be honest, it's not really worth my time because if I've got to get through a gatekeeper to get to someone, they're probably not going to buy my service, and that's because they probably consider themselves well established enough and busy enough that they don't have to keep growing. But then again, maybe I'm just biasing myself towards pain avoidance naturally because I don't want the pain of dealing with having to fight and wrestle with gatekeepers to get to what I want to get. But I've got off topic here. The woman called me anyway, clearly a gatekeeper, and I say, yeah, okay, so I'm selling a service. And she says, what you selling? Just quickly, brusquely like that, what you selling? What are you selling? Just waiting for people to leave because I hate being heard outside my room. Hate being heard, people thinking I'm talking to myself. which I kind of am, but you know, I still don't like people commenting on what I'm doing. It just really annoys me. And I'll get into more of that later in the video, people commenting on what I'm doing when they're calling me. But anyway, she was like, so yeah. And then she just said, we won't have any need for that. We won't have any need for that. And then, so yeah, have a good day. Bye, 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 bye. Have a good day. Have a good day. Bye, bye. And then I'm like, oh, okay. But do you think that before I go, that there'll be any point in the future where you might have a need for more clients? And then they just say no, 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 bye, 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 bye. You know, just kind of makes you want to just punch them in the face or something. I don't know. It just really irks me when people are like that. They think that you're under their bloody, the under their worthiness of attention. Like you're some kind of stone on the road they have to kick over, or get out of their shoe or something. That just irks me. You know, not treating humans with respect. But you know, I always took it for granted that I had a safe, sheltered life a couple of years ago. I never really had much sympathy or empathy for people who would kind of just get treated like dog crap because they're trying to do something. That's pretty difficult, like growing a business. But anyway, later on then I called someone. No, someone called me back. It was this person I've been following up on for a few days. They hadn't given me a straight answer. I called someone. They said, "Okay, I'll just leave the person a message." And someone else said later on, "Okay, I'll leave the boss a message." And apparently, I had emailed these people as well, and I followed up on the emails as well. And they said, "We're not interested on the emails," but I sort of didn't really realize that when it came to the phone calling, so I should have really just taken off the reminder, but I didn't because I just didn't think of it. I'm dealing with a lot of different prospects at once, so these things are bound to happen. So anyway, the person calls me back and they're saying, hello, who is this? And I'm just saying, hi, this is Michael Keaveney. And then I said, to be honest, I have something to sell. And then he says, what do you have to sell? You've been calling us up a lot for the last few days, but we've already said that we're not interested about 2 or 3 times now, and you keep ringing us. And he's sounding like almost upset because it's like I'm some kind of scammer who won't leave him alone and who just won't take no for an answer, like I'm some really sleazy con man. It's he didn't say that, but and we kind of got off on okay terms at the end because a couple of seconds later I just said, okay, I'm sorry about that. I didn't know that was happening. He was just like, okay, it's all right. But it's those interactions that take out the energy out of you completely. I don't think that cold calling is soul destroying. I think it's sort of soul again, just peek. I have to. That's so people don't hear my voice, but you know it's not going to work. It might work about 10%, but 10% is good enough for my peace of mind. Peace of mind. So, yeah. One interaction like that can just completely drain your enthusiasm for the next 5 calls, and it takes about roughly 3 to 4 positive interactions to cancel out a negative interaction in terms of how you feel. But then again, you kind of just have to sacrifice your entire quality of existence and your will to live while you're calling for about 6 hours, because I do it about 5 or 6 hours a day now, and that's basically what I have to do. And by the end of the day, I'm just dying because it's just so. Again, I just don't want people listening to me talking about how I'm dying, and they're gonna think I'm some kind of self-assured hero victim tragedy story or something. I don't know. No, that's what I don't want. I don't want my valiant efforts to be misconstrued as some kind of ego play that I'm broadcasting to the world, because I'm not really. I'm just a regular person who is trying to become more valuable to himself and the people around him. I am driven a lot by fear of what I'm going to think of myself if I don't freaking do this, if I don't bloody face these absolute monsters in my life, if I don't face them and I don't beat the ever living crap out of them until they start begging for mercy. If I don't do that, then I'm gonna be like, I'm not okay with how I existed. I'm not okay with that. I have to destroy them. I have to rip them apart. Sorry, I'm coming off as a bit crazy now, or a bit macho, whatever you want to think of it. But there's like, I don't know how people function. I just don't know how people function. Like, haha, we have such great lives. We can socialize. We can talk. We can do all these amazing things. We can be okay with going out. How is Jimmy doing? Is he good? Then you're like over in the corner. Who the hell is Jimmy? I know who you two are, but I don't know who Jimmy is. They're just talking about Jimmy. Who the flip is Jimmy? And then third interaction was, it was just the most soul destroying interaction in the short term, because I rang up the owner of this HVAC commissioning company and I got a loss assessor instead. So I gave my offer to him and he said, how do you price that? And I say, I take 10% off the sales I generate. And he says, that's not a sustainable business model. If you're making someone over $1,000 a month, then you shouldn't really be taking more than 10% of that. And I'm kind of just hopping here, but I'm also trying not to lose my cool, because the person who loses their cool is a weaker person, and there's no way in hell I would be weaker than that guy. I'm not weaker than him. Loss assessor. And then he gives me a 10-minute lecture about what he thinks I should be doing and what I should have, and I'm just feeling like really tempted to just bloody hang up on him just to hurt him, honestly. But I know that he wasn't construing this to be offensive to me whatsoever, and he thought I was kind of listening in an okay, probably slightly half irritated way, even though I kind of just wanted to reach through the phone and start taking his tie and tugging it. But can't be doing that because it's not good for business. Anyway, he told me something kind of shocking. It was about data protection, and GDPR is another thing that kind of terrifies me, because like, you can get fined up to 10 million or 2% of your annual revenue for the year, whichever is higher. So you're basically losing at least 10 million, and that is not something I can really do with at the moment. You know, I don't usually have 10 million on hand, and I just don't think it would really suit me in my particular scenario. So no, not really looking to pay 10 million. So I think that if I'm okay with my procedure in asking the person, hey, did this lead convert into a sale, then I should be okay. Another thing that's slightly bugging me is the service delivery aspect. I need to figure out how to bloody do that. Thankfully, again, I'm gonna start talking about my genius. So, you know, if you don't like vanity, don't watch the rest of this video, but I'm gonna be talking about how I masterfully crafted a way for myself to benefit from a scenario of that brutal sales call yesterday. He was basically ripping into me, saying, you shouldn't be charging 10% on this. It will be bananas. It would not be good. It wasn't that bad though. It wasn't nearly as bad as the guy I had on today on the call, but basically I knew this sale wasn't going to convert because I couldn't get over his objections logically. I just couldn't. Like, there's some objections that they make so much logical sense that there'd just be no point in going through with the sale, because they're genuine reasons, and the reason respecting tendency is working on me in this scenario because it's true. I'm not gonna ignore reason, and I don't intend to either. But I masterfully made a way that I could benefit from the situation by saying, hey, how about I look over your ads and conduct an audit on it and conduct a report. Anything that you might be doing, I can show you how to do it better. And meanwhile, in my brain, just like, finally, I'm going to get an actual chance to see how it works and seeing how the freak I learn how to do this. Because, to be honest, I don't know how to do it. I've never done it before in my life. And I have an onboarding call tomorrow. Should have had it today, but the guy was out on a call. And I need to get them results. Two guys I have now, I need to get them results. I need to grow their businesses, or else I'm gonna lose. And nothing will piss me off more than waiting until, what's the day? Sorry, wait, being in college in September and October and not having good recurring monthly revenue coming into my bank account. That would just annoy me so much. Can't have that. Want to be able to pay for my own stuff. Not going to be in college after these 4 months of absolute heartbreaking torture and not come out with anything at the end of it. I've got to make it happen. I've got to make it happen, and I've got to get more clients signed up so I can get to about 10 grand a month. I've got to do that. So anyway, I think I'll end that there. Appreciate you watching. If you want, comment, and there's no point in disliking because those they removed the dislike button for some reason, which is stupid. And this is a guy who used to get about 10 dislikes and 6 likes on his Modern Warfare videos. So I would have welcomed you to openly dislike. I'm not going to ask you to like, but there's no point in disliking either. So yeah, just do what you want. If the video helped you, then do what you think will be right. But I'm not going to ask you to like because I don't know. It's okay, I suppose. It's not an unethical thing, but I'm still not going to do it. Anyway, see ya.